Hey guys, it is Muggz. I am finally back with more of my Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track ranking slash tier list series content. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the previous videos, check those out. You'll see why all of these tracks that you see right now on the screen fell where they fell. And if you watch my D tier list video, the first one, you'll get to see sort of a little bit of background on my methodology. I might do a video more in depth on that later on, but for now, that's all you got on my methodology. So, yeah, check those out, but let's just jump right in. The next track we've got, we're rounding out the B tier here. The top 7 in the B tier, because the B tier was huge. It had 14 tracks in it. You can see Royal Raceway through Twisted Mansion. Those make up the bottom 7. And the beginning of the top 7, we have Sunshine Airport. That's right. It's another realistic themed Mario Kart track. And if you've watched my other videos, you probably know that I'm not too into the realistic themed tracks. At least they're a little down-weighted in my opinion. However, this track is solid. Like the track itself. If you abstract this track from any theme at all and just have the layout of the track, it's very solid. I do, however, have a couple of gripes. So first off, why so much time in the air again? Why? It's just a little bit too much. It ruins it when you get shocked or shelled right before the cannon or at the start of the next jump. So that's frustrating. And again, it's a cannon glider that it doesn't feel like it's necessary in my opinion. At least that's just me. I'm not a big fan of the cannon gliders, I guess. But other than that, the track is really solid. You have the luggage to worry about. The boxes can break and have items in them. I love the item set where you can swing out wide of the plane tires and get the double, or you can go in between the plane, or you can cut through the grass on the right if you have a boost item. And then, you have that final stretch where you have the 2 very long jumps that I'm not a huge fan of. But other than that, it's a very solid track. The music is pleasant, and for a realistic theme, again, at least it hadn't been done before, so it's got that. So Sunshine Airport, a very solid track, a lackluster theme in my opinion, but a solid B tier course. Next up, we've got Rainbow Road from the N64, a remake. And this one's interesting because it had to grow on me. I didn't like it very much at first. In fact, I couldn't just stop thinking about the N64 version when I jumped into this game. I never wanted to play this Rainbow Road because I found it inferior to that version. However, I now find the opposite to be true, at least in my opinion. I no longer have any desire to play the N64 version because this one just is so magical. I mean, sure, it went from super long, like one of the longest, if not the longest Mario Kart track ever, to one of the shorter ones. But it's still really solid. It's a rush. The boosts are perfectly placed. The track still has the same great layout, but they removed the rails in some sections, which I think really, really adds to it. And they did widen the road, but it balances out well. They moved the chain chomps are now like bouncy chomp things that create ripples in the road. It's a ton of fun. They're really hard to avoid too, but you also want to be tricking off the ripples they create, so it makes for a fun section. And yeah, the track just has that same great music. That the art is beautifully redone. I love the train that throws the coins. It's just a rush of a course. It's so fun. It's still nostalgic, and yeah, I'm really glad with what they did with this track. The glider sections are perfect. It's just fantastic. So this one gets an A+. Well, more like a B. It's a really solid track. The only reason it's not higher is because there's some amazing competition, and I had to judge this, kind of relative to other tracks. But this is where things really, really start getting good in my opinion. You've got N64 Rainbow Road right there. All right, so next up we have got Neo Bowser City. And like I just said, this is where things really start getting good. And Neo Bowser City keeps that trend up perfectly. I mean, this track was great on the 3DS. They didn't change much. They didn't have to change much. It's still a great track. You start off, you get your items. You're underground for a little bit. You've got some great turns, some subtle turns, some tight turns. And then you've got the best turns, which are those S turns. That S turn, sort of in the second third of the track, when you're nearing the end of the track, is just fantastic. I mean, on 200cc, it is a beast. You might even have to not only brake, but take off the gas and brake just to stay on the track for that turn. Even on 150cc, it's a challenge, especially if you've got people, you know, throwing items or dropping bombs or you're in a lot of traffic. It's just fun every single time I drive through it. And then, you know, you get your item set at the end and you make one final turn and you got a glider section and the thing begins again. One little touch I like is that on the glider section, you can actually swing out to the left and catch sort of an updraft as you lap around. And even though I don't think it saves any time, I kind of like it if there's a lot of traffic and I kind of want to bail out. Maybe somebody's got some annoying items. I kind of like that. I think it was a little more useful on the 3DS, but just a fun touch. And just a great track. It's difficult. The setting is great. Say what you want about Bowser. Maybe a bad guy, but he runs a great city. The infrastructure is solid. It's built up well. It looks high-tech. Neo Bowser City, mwah. Great track, great setting. Thumbs up. All right, next up, we've got the Electrodrome. So I thought it was Electrodome for the longest time, but it's apparently Electrodrome. You know, there's an R there, so yeah, that's pretty apparent. Let's talk about the track. Yeah, it sort of definitely scored higher in the theme and the music for me. That kind of boosted it up, because I think as a track, I actually might prefer the layout of, say, Neo Bowser City, and I do enjoy the theme of it, but I just really enjoy the music and the theme of Electrodrome. I love when you drive on the road and it's lighting up with colors and the music's playing, and then it's kind of like the electric keys at the end. It's just fantastic. Both glider sections are excellent. I don't feel like I'm in the air for too long, but yet they're still fun, and they don't seem pointless, so those score well. I love cutting through the off-road right at the end between the pipes. And there's just, you know, some really nice turns where you can get, like, Ultra Mini Turbo into Ultra Mini Turbo, for example, on some of the wider turns there. So it's just a fun track. It does kind of fly by. It doesn't feel like it's the longest track. I don't know exactly how long it takes to run it, but I guess I could check that. Maybe I'll put that up on the screen here. But yeah, you know, it's just a solid track that I think I really enjoy the theme and the setting. I feel like I'm in a club with Mario and his friends, and it's just a good time. So Electrodrome, that's where it is. Okay. Shy Guy Falls is next. And this is one that has kind of been solid ever since I started playing the game. I don't know that I ever thought lowly of this track. I don't know that I ever thought super highly of this track. I mean, it's just a really, really good track. It's a solid track. And I think one of the best things about it is that it exploits the anti-gravity, kind of like no other track, in my opinion. You're driving up the waterfall, going against the current, then you're driving down the waterfall, going with the current. I mean, it's perfect. That's how you should utilize the anti-gravity, not just to, you know, have you randomly drive on a wall or something, but in a meaningful way. So I love how it exploits the setting with the anti-gravity. The music is solid and the setting is solid. It's nothing to, you know, write home about. It's nothing that I'm gonna, you know, cherish forever. But it's pretty good. It's not on Electrodrome's level, but, you know, it's solid. The Shy Guys are cute, at least. And the track itself, like I said, it's just a fun track. There's a Nisk at the end that you can take if you get really good at it. It's a very difficult Nisk. If you have a mushroom, you can just take it anyway. But if you practice enough and get the line just right, you can take that Nisk mushroomless. So that's always fun to pull off. I love things like that sort of add a higher skill ceiling to a track. So Shy Guy Falls, in my opinion, just has it all, and it's a solid track, so there it is. If you're wondering, by the way, Shy Guy Falls is the 17th best track in the game, so we're getting up there now. Up next, we've got Music Park. And this one's similar to Electrodrome. It's a very musically themed track, and I really love that. I love the setting, and again, in Neo Bowser City's sense, it's from the 3DS, and they didn't change much, but they didn't have to, because it was already fantastic. So, let's jump into the track. As I was saying, the theme is just really, really solid. I love the bouncing musical notes at the end. I love driving on the keys, occasionally hitting a flat key, and it's a little jarring. I love it. I love the piranha plants. I love the music in the background itself. Just everything's a home run there. Then when you talk about the actual layout of the track, Well, you kind of have a big turn to start things off, and then you have those piranha plants, which I think are fantastic. And then you have, a couple of really tight turns that takes a little bit of practice to get used to. You've got the drums to bounce off of, which are great. I've already mentioned the bouncing musical notes, which are, I think, it's a nice touch how they speed up on the final lap. I wish they sped up a little more, kind of like they did in the 3DS version of the game, where they went just a little bit faster with their bounces, but I still really enjoy that touch. And then, like I said, you've got another drum to bounce on right at the end to kind of take another little shortcut. So the track is really fun. There's a lot of little tricky details to it. And the theme is great. So it earns a solid place in the B tier. Okay. And to close out the B tier, we have maybe a bit of a shocker to be this high to some people. Thwomp Ruins, the highest track in the B tier. And if you're wondering, yes, we are in the top 15 now. Thwomp Ruins is the 15th best track in the game, according to me and my model. So, let's talk about it. One thing I love about Thwomp Ruins is right off the bat, you can take a Nisk. You can start the track off by taking a nice little Nisk that's normally meant for mushroom holders only. But if you get the alignment just right, and you sort of release your super mini turbo at just the right time, you can take that ramp, get a trick off, and get your race off to a nice little head start. Then you've got just so many options on this track, and I think that's what makes it stand out to me. You go on the wall the first lap, for example, to get 6 coins. That kind of makes sense. You want to really coin up. It's a bit longer to go on the wall, but you get a lot of coins. And then you get to the next section where you just have so many ways to go. You can either go out wide on the walls, you can go under the thwomps, you can go in the water, and all this is left side or right side. And then the middle part opens up later on in the race, so you can even go down the middle as a glider section. So there's like 7 different options in total in that next section. And then, you have a couple turns, you have a nice little shortcut at the end and some thwomps to avoid. It's just a fantastic track. The setting is okay. I mean, it's a Mario-themed setting, but it's like a unique one. It feels like it could be in an upcoming Mario game, like the Thwomp Ruins. And it just feels unique and kind of random, and I love it. So Thwomp Ruins, it's a fun track. There's a lot of little subtleties to learn, so I think that makes it stand out a bit more in my head. And the theme, even though it's a Mario theme, it's one of my favorite ones. So Thwomp Ruins, your 15th best track, and that's what rounds out the B tier. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we're really getting into the heavy hitters next time, because we're tackling the A tier. I believe I've got 10 tracks, I want to say, in the A tier, so we'll jump into that next time on the Mario Kart 8 Muggz Edition Deluxe Tier List Track Ranking. Bye!